What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the growth season. So this is going to be video one of the growth season. So I'm not going to call it an off season because it's not really that if you're a full-time bodybuilder and you're serious about your progress. So it's the growth season, the improvement season. We have a lot of things we need to work on to get ready to qualify for the Olympia in 2026. So that starts now. And this is really like the first hardcore chest session since I finished my last show in Denver last week. So excited to share the bulking process with you guys because you guys saw the shreds for the past couple months and really just the behind the scenes of my prep. So now I'm going to show you the opposite side, what I do to grow muscle tissue to build the physique that I have today. Because let's face it, if you're really trying to change your body, you should spend about 75% of your time in a bulking phase, about 25% of the time in a cutting phase. So it's important to definitely do both phases, but the real magic happens when you're bulking, not when you're leaning out. Let's go! So during my workout, drinking some raw fuel. So this is 2 scoops of raw fuel, basically intra-workout carbs. The powder form, or like drinking liquids, is a lot more absorbable than like trying to eat like a Rice Krispie treat or something throughout your workout. So liquids are gonna digest a lot faster, which is why a powder, like I said, is a lot better than like a Rice Krispie. This is hydration and carbs all in one. Go check it out on rawnutrition.com. and you guys could use code PR on this product. But trust me, if you're bulking, great way to get carbs in. Also is gonna help to fuel your lift. I'm gonna be throwing in a little bit more intensifiers, a little bit more set extenders, because towards the end of my prep, because energy was so low, my recovery was so low, I wasn't doing as many drop sets, I wasn't doing as many supersets, I wasn't doing as many cluster sets, rest, pause, and all those things. So now that we have more food, we're gonna be lifting heavier, first and foremost, but we're gonna be able to do some more set extenders, and that's gonna make a big difference with just overall training intensity. Like you guys saw, I was definitely training hard while on prep, but when you're running on reserves, it's hard to train the same way that I feel like I can now. But at the same time, like coming out of a prep, I'm also in a rebuilding process, regaining my strength. So it's gonna probably take my body another, I would say another somewhere between 4 to 8 weeks before I'm really able to push my strength again. Because right now, what I've even noticed throughout my workout is that my joints and ligaments still fucking hurt really bad. So my joints and soft tissues in general are just still really sore. So I'm just trying to be careful about that, making sure that I don't like injure myself by trying to lift too heavy too soon. Let's go! So I've been loving this variation of back supported lateral raise as of late. I feel like when you have the back support, you have more stability, but you use less momentum. So I find myself using stricter form when I do it seated with back support versus standing up. My form feels a lot more locked in. And then what I've been really doing a lot with lateral raises is a challenging weight, but high reps. So you guys saw the first set, I was using 20s and did 20 reps. And so I didn't pick like the 10 pounds and did 20 reps. So I picked still a pretty challenging weight where that was an incredibly stimulating set for muscle growth. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna do the 25s for the final set before we move on. And we're gonna try to get 12 to 15 reps. But what I'm really aiming for is 15, but minimum 12. So it's gonna be a grinder of a set, but just watch the attention to detail. Another thing with lateral raises is lead with your elbow, not your forearms, not your hand. I see people doing this shit all the time. That's not what actually works your lateral delts. Raise your elbow. Your elbow and leading from the elbow is gonna help you get a much, much better lateral delt or side delt contraction. All right, let's go back to chest. So here, one of the things I'm focusing on is trying to keep the elbows on the pad, which, not gonna lie, especially as you go heavier, can be difficult. So gotta make sure your feet are firmly planted on the floor, core is braced, and then try to drive the elbow into the pad to keep it on the pad. And you could see some of those reps, my elbow was lifting up slightly, but I was correcting it by bringing it right back down onto this pad. So whenever you're working biceps, triceps, make sure you minimize the elbow movement so you can maximize the bicep engagement or the tricep engagement. So this next set, single arm. So doing it unilateral there versus bilateral is so much easier to just have a better mind-muscle connection. Plus, you probably noticed I didn't struggle quite as much with keeping my elbow down on the pad. So sometimes with particular machines, certain movements, it's more beneficial. Like, I'm gonna do my next set unilateral because it just felt that much better. So we're gonna go up heavier for this last set here. And we're gonna go probably up 10, 20 pounds and shoot for about 12 to 15 reps, but it's gonna feel a lot better doing it unilateral, at least for me it is, than doing it bilateral. So kind of sometimes experiment, right? Sometimes working out, you're gonna kind of experiment with different machines, different exercises, bilateral, unilateral, different intensifiers to find what really works best for your body. Tricep is pumped after that one. I may or may not have had some brownies before I came to the gym, so that's the key. That's the secret to this pump. Some Buckeye brownies. If you haven't tried Buckeye brownies, go look them up on Instagram. You won't be disappointed. You might just be a little bit hungry. do a back off set here. So I've been showing you guys back off sets. So this last set's gonna be a high rep back off set. We're gonna go down to 50 pounds and we're gonna try to crank out 25 to 30. So this set's gonna be a grinder. I'm sure I'm gonna be holding my tricep in pain after this set, but last set, best set.
Ooh. Oh.
We got one more movement, 3 sets, and that's a wrap for this workout. So we're documenting this as the start of the grow season. So weighed 211.6 pounds, fasted this morning. When I was on stage about today's the 17th, my show is the 7th. I was about 200 pounds, obviously very depleted. I was peaked, I was dehydrated, all that stuff. So I've gained some water weight back, a little bit of body fat, and my muscles have just filled out with glycogen. So we're gonna show you guys my physique, and so I'm gonna do a little bit of posing, just kind of show you what I look like right now, and then periodically throughout this grow season, maybe once a month, every other month, we're gonna compare clips side by side so you guys can see my progression. And it's also gonna be cool for me to be able to track my progress this way as well. So this is how we're currently looking. Still pretty lean, as you can see overall, still pretty lean. Waistline's holding pretty tight. Just trained chest, so obviously I have a little bit of a chest bump. Show the legs. Show from the side. The back. Men's physique back pose. Back double bi. Front double bi. So yeah, overall, happy with where I'm at. Definitely feel a little bit watery, so I wouldn't be surprised if my weight actually drops a few pounds. Probably would drop about, I'm gonna be a little bit stricter with my diet this week compared to last week. Last week I was just intuitively eating and all that, so I expect my weight to probably level out somewhere between 207 to 209. And then from there, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day now on training days and about 3,600 on rest days. I'm expecting to slowly gain weight, but that's not a massive surplus for me because my body just burns so many calories from having as much muscle as I have. And then also, even at rest, just being about 210 pounds and, lean, like I said, because of my muscle and because of my age and everything like that, I burn a ton of calories at rest. And then every day, I get 8,000 to 10,000 plus steps. I went for a bike ride this morning and burned 500 calories on an 11.5 mile bike ride. So I'm highly active. It might sound like a lot of food, and trust me, it is, especially when you're trying to eat it through clean food. But this is where the calories are starting, and the highest my food's ever got to was about 4,700 a day. And that was insane. I was struggling every single day to get my food in. So we'll see. I definitely want to stay really tight throughout this off season, but just going to follow my coach's guidance on how hard we're going to push the food and all that throughout this bulking phase. So this is the starting physique, and super excited for the next 6+ months for sure. And then I'm not sure if we'll keep bulking beyond that, but at least the next 6 months, I'm going to be in a growing phase.